Before this video actually begins, I have to say prayers up to Kevin Durant and his family and everyone affected by this, because we received word that Kevin Durant's adopted brother has been shot to death at a nightclub in Atlanta. His name was Clifford Dixon, and he was so close to KD that back when KD won MVP, he actually thanked Dixon in his speech. So this is just terrible news all around, and once again, thoughts and prayers to everyone affected. Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zachary, back bringing you some more NBA videos. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, but we got a heck of a lot to cover today, including 6 games of NBA action, plus we do have to take a look at what you guys said in yesterday's video as well. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time because this could be a pretty long video. Let's just get right into this. One thing that's become painfully obvious over the past couple of weeks is that Klay Thompson might not mess with NBA fans too much. He might not like the NBA fan community. So maybe about a week or two ago, Klay Thompson, after the Warriors lost to the Phoenix Suns, blamed Warriors fans for that loss, saying that if the Warriors fans were louder, that maybe, just maybe, the Warriors would have been able to beat the Phoenix Suns. And of course, that didn't go over so well. Some people started to take offense to that, and Klay Thompson was forced to issue a public apology on his Twitter to Warriors fans. Since then, though, this whole topic pretty much died down up until right now, as Klay Thompson is back at it again. This time, though, he says that, you know, he don't mess with NBA fans because we're too fickle. At the end of the day, the love from the media and the fans can be fickle just because it's so game to game. We live in a time where it's, what have you done for me lately? You can't get caught up in the love right now. Well, he just said it, so I suppose that's the way he really feels. And it's crazy to me to think that a player like Klay Thompson, who I didn't think anyone had any problems with except for maybe OKC fans, considering what he did to them in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals a few years back, I didn't think anyone had a problem with Klay Thompson. And even furthermore, he's on the freaking Golden State Warriors. What are Golden State Warriors fans complaining about? I don't know, because I'm not a Warriors fan, but I'd imagine that they shouldn't have much to complain about considering how stacked they are with all-star talent and future Hall of Fame players. What on earth is there to complain about if you're a Golden State Warriors fan? I don't understand this whole debacle between Klay Thompson and the Golden State Warriors fans. I could understand if it was Draymond Green or Kevin Durant or a player who's more controversial than Klay Thompson. I just don't understand any of this. So if you're a Warriors fan, let me know what the heck is going on down in the comment section below, because I have no idea. LaMarcus Aldridge is going back to the Portland Trailblazers. I don't know if this is considered a form of tampering or not, because it's a player just basically admitting that he's going to end up back with another team while he's under a contract with another team. It's not something that we see too often, but it just happened. LaMarcus Aldridge literally said that he's been telling Damian Lillard for a while now that he has every intention of rejoining the Portland Trailblazers. I keep telling him I'm going to come back and finish there. That's something him and I have talked about, playing together again. Now, even though he's saying that, LaMarcus Aldridge can't act upon his words for at least the next couple of years. He's under contract with the Spurs until the summer of 2021, when he will be 36 years old. That's when he'll be able to go back to the Portland Trailblazers if that's what he decides. Now, even though LaMarcus Aldridge says that he has every intention of teaming up with Damian Lillard and finishing out his career with the Portland Trailblazers, whether or not Damian Lillard is still going to be with the Blazers in 2021 is another story, because actually that's the same summer when Damian Lillard will hit unrestricted free agency for the first time in his career. And while Lillard may have said time and time again how much he wants to win a championship with the Blazers, at the end of the day, this is a business and a lot can change in 2 years. If the Blazers right now are still where they're at, where they're struggling to actually become that championship contender, and Lillard is getting up in his 30s and facing free agency, the Blazers are going to have to make a very tough decision as whether or not they keep riding with Damian Lillard even if they don't win a championship, or if they move Damian Lillard to someday win a championship. The Blazers are going to have to make a very tough decision, and even though LaMarcus Aldridge would like to finish out his career playing alongside Lillard on the Blazers, if he does really want to play alongside Lillard again, well, how do I say this? It just might not be able to be on the Portland Trailblazers by the time the year 2021 comes around. So the OKC Thunder recently retired the jersey of Nick Collison. Now, if you're a new fan to the NBA or maybe haven't been following the OKC Thunder, then Nick Collison, while he wasn't the most star-studded player in the NBA, he didn't have a lot of accomplishments, he wasn't an all-star, defensive player of the year, anything like that. He was a player that stuck with the Thunder for his entire career. The fans loved him, the city loved him, the organization loved him. Everyone that knew Nick Collison loved Nick Collison for what he was and what he did bring to the locker room of the OKC Thunder. And that's why he had his jersey retired. He's kind of like the Udonis Haslem of the OKC Thunder. And after Nick Collison had his jersey retired by the Thunder, he was asked if whether or not another player the OKC Thunder should have their jersey retired at some point, and that player is Kevin Durant. Yeah, Nick Collison was asked whether or not he believes Kevin Durant, the player who burned OKC to join their rivals a couple of years ago, should still have his jersey retired, and this is what he had to say. It's their decision to make, but I would certainly think so. He's meant a ton to Thunder basketball and spent a majority of his career here. A lot of these honors are just kind of what a team decides to do, and I think players are appreciative of them. I don't get too worked up about it. I'll let other people debate that, but to me, he's a big part of what we did here. To be honest, I'm not as interested in what Nick Collison had to say on this subject as I am about what you guys are going to have to say on this subject, and that's just because Nick Collison pretty much had to say this. Him and KD are cool, they know each other on a personal level, so how is he gonna come out and say that they shouldn't retire his jersey? There's no way that he should say that. And that's why I really want to know what you guys have to say about this, especially if you happen to be an OKC Thunder fan, because just on the basis of great players that the league has ever seen and the greatest players that have ever played for this Thunder organization since its birth, and yeah, it would make a lot of sense to retire Kevin Durant's jersey, but the way he left did leave such a bad taste in the mouth of the organization and the fans that even though it seems like it should be a no-brainer, I don't think it'll be as unanimous as everyone thinks as to whether or not they should retire his jersey. So I'm really curious to know what you guys had to say about this down in the comment section below. Do you think that Kevin Durant deserves to have his jersey retired by the OKC Thunder? I'll definitely be looking at these answers and going over some in the next video on Monday, so let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I expect some pretty heated debates. So the Atlanta Hawks just beat the Utah Jazz yesterday. For sure an impressive win for the Hawks as Trae Young continues to prove any doubters that he may have left wrong. 23 points and 11 assists for Young, and 117-114 was the final score in this one. And this win for the Hawks actually snapped the 5-game winning streak that the Jazz were on. And speaking of the Jazz, real quick, I gotta share this with you guys just so I can see if you all had the same response to this as I did when I first heard about it. Okay, so apparently before the Knicks traded Porzingis to the Mavericks for Dennis Smith Jr., they called up the Utah Jazz and offered to trade Kristaps Porzingis for Donovan Mitchell. The New York Knicks thought that the Utah Jazz would agree to trade them Donovan Mitchell in exchange for Kristaps Porzingis. And I can't be the only person out there that thinks there has to be one of the most asinine offers that the Knicks could ever make. Like, did they actually think that this was going to go through? Why in their right mind would the Utah Jazz ever trade Donovan Mitchell or Kristaps Porzingis? Donovan Mitchell is about to lead the Jazz back to the playoffs once again, whereas Kristaps Porzingis, he's coming off an ACL injury. The man hasn't played a game. He's about to be a free agent. Who knows if he commit to the Jazz long term? And it just wouldn't make any sense. The only way I could see Porzingis staying in Utah was to play alongside Donovan Mitchell. It just made absolutely no sense for the Knicks to even think that something like this would happen. They say you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. In my opinion, this was just one of the most disrespectful shots that the Knicks could ever take. Why would they ever think that the Utah Jazz would agree to something like that? The Golden State Warriors took care of business against the Pacers yesterday. Poor Indiana didn't even stand a chance, as even though the Warriors are best known for the offensive firepower, we all know that defensively they're a force to be reckoned with as well, and they put that on display last night, limiting the Pacers to shooting just 40% from the field and making only 6 of their 23 three-point attempts. 112-89 the final score in this one. DeMarcus Cousins, the high man for Golden State, with 19 points and 11 rebounds. The Sacramento Kings and the Dallas Mavericks. This will be a very interesting matchup in the Western Conference for years to come, but this season, the Kings are just the better team as they get the 116-100 win over Dallas. Buddy Hield with another strong showing, scoring 29 points, while the rookie Marvin Bagley, who, if you were to ask me, I don't think he gets enough praise for what he's been doing for the Kings so far this year, had a great night. 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks off the bench. The Denver Nuggets used a balanced attack to edge out the Washington Wizards, 113-108. Just look at this box score for Denver. 6 players scored exactly 15 points, and 8 of the 9 players who played last night scored in double digits. And even Plumlee, the one player who didn't score in double digits, still contributed with 11 rebounds and 4 assists. You're not going to find a much more balanced attack than that. This was a close game until it wasn't. I don't know how, but one second I was watching this game and it seemed like it was going to go down to the wire, and the next second the Pistons were flirting with the 20-point lead, and ultimately they did end up winning by 20, 118-98. The lead just started to grow so fast in the fourth quarter. Wayne Ellington, who has been on fire as of late, hit 6 of his 10 3-point attempts to score 23 points in the night. And for the final game of the day, the Charlotte Hornets keep their playoff hopes on life support by beating the Wolves 113-106. Kemba Walker, who could be playing his final games as a member of the Hornets, scoring 31 points. Now though, it's time to take a look at what you guys said in yesterday's video. Okay, so yesterday, after the Philadelphia 76ers finally managed to beat the Boston Celtics, I asked you guys if these two teams were to meet in the playoffs. By the way, the only situation they will meet in the playoffs is if they both make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Who are you taking in a 7-game series and why? Philly or Boston? And here's what you guys had to say. First off, we have a comment from Light as he says, if a Boston-Philly series were to happen, I believe that Philly would win in 6. Primarily, I feel the Celtics' younger core is actually better without Kyrie, as weird as that sounds, while the Sixers are playing more and more improved as the season is progressing. And even though the Celtics have the talent and the head coach, I feel their chemistry is what will be their downfall. Think about this. Jimmy Butler is an amazing player who doesn't want to be the star on the team. I really feel that Tibbs did the best thing for Butler by trading him to Philly, and this was probably the best thing that he could have done. Chemistry of the Boston Celtics is certainly what's causing people some pause as to what they expect out of the Boston Celtics in the playoffs this year. No one's 100% sure how they're going to play considering how up and down of a season that they've had. However, the situation that we're talking about here is one in which the Boston Celtics do make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and if they do that, then I don't think their chemistry would be in question anymore, because that means that they had to get past the Milwaukee Bucks, and if the Boston Celtics don't figure out their chemistry problems, then there's no way they're making it past the Milwaukee Bucks. So I don't think their chemistry would be the issue in them beating the Philadelphia 76ers. As for your Jimmy Butler comment, I 100% agree. Jimmy Butler first said when he got to Minnesota a couple of years ago that he didn't want to be the star on that team. He didn't want to be the guy. He didn't want to be the best player. On Philly, he doesn't have to worry about that because this is Joel Embiid's team. So I do agree with you there. Next up, Adam MRC says Celtics because no one knew last year that they'd be good in the playoffs. When it counts, I'm sure they will show up. It might be a tough matchup due to the 76ers' new assets, but I'm still going with the Celtics. Yeah, the faith that the Celtics are gonna pull through when the playoffs start and get their act together is pretty much what Celtics fans have been clinging to since they have had such an up and down season, and they are a team that has proven over time that they do play better in the playoffs, and especially when people are counting them out. So I think they do have that going for them in terms of they will get their chemistry together when the playoffs start. But I'm also glad that you mentioned the Philadelphia 76ers new assets, because even though the Boston Celtics have won like 21 of their past 24 games against the Philadelphia 76ers, it's not like they were all against this Sixers team right here. No, this is a completely different Sixers team with the additions of Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. So them winning all of these games against the Philadelphia 76ers might not mean as much as people think, especially if these two teams were to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals. It'll be 0-0, a clean slate. The final question is coming from Alexander Antunes. I'm sorry if I messed up your last name, but anyways, Alexander says Celtics in 7. While Philly got more firepower with their starting 5, their bench is very weak. Meanwhile, the Celtics bench is full of potential starters. Also, the Celtics always seem to turn up in the playoffs, especially Kyrie. Ben Simmons is still a weakness for Philly since he can't shoot. They also haven't played a full season together since they got Jimmy and Tobias this season. It's still not known how to perform in the playoffs with this team. Also, Philly always struggles to beat the Celtics. Their first win against them was only by 3 points, so my money is on Boston. And that's another good point. When it comes to the starting 5 of Philly versus Boston, I'm taking Philly. Matter of fact, when it comes to the starting five of Philly versus any other team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers have the most talented, star-studded starting five in the East. But their bench is kind of bad, and the Celtics do have them beat in that area. And while it is true that the Sixers team is pretty new and we don't know how they're going to perform in the playoffs, once again, the scenario is both these teams make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, since that's the only way they'll actually meet in the playoffs. And if the Philadelphia 76ers are in the Eastern Conference Finals, that means they managed to get past Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, and the Toronto Raptors. So I don't think we should be questioning how good of a playoff team they will be at that point. Now for my opinion though, and I'm gonna give you guys who I think will win a series for the sake of not copping out and just saying it will be a great 7-game series, which it will. It will be a really good series if these two teams do meet in the finals. But if I had to pick one team, I'm gonna say the Philadelphia 76ers for a couple of reasons. One is because the Sixers would have home court advantage in that matchup. Another reason is because Philadelphia 76ers do have Joel Embiid, and while Al Horford and Aaron Baines did a good job guarding Embiid in the playoffs last year, this entire Sixers team is different, meaning that the Celtics won't be able to zone in on Joel Embiid as much as they did last year. So it will make it a lot easier for Joel Embiid to go out there and get buckets. And Joel Embiid as a whole is without a doubt just one of the most unstoppable players that the league has to offer right now. And if he sees the Celtics get in the playoffs, I know he's going to be playing with that extra oomph because he wants to make up for what happened last year. We all thought the Sixers were supposed to be Boston in the playoffs last year since the Boston Celtics were so banged up, and look at what happened. He's going to want to redeem himself. So if this dream matchup of Philly versus Boston does happen, I'm predicting Philly, but I could easily be wrong. But that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, why not go ahead and smack that like button, as well as make sure that you leave your answer to today's question down in the comment section below, which was, do you think that the OKC Thunder should retire the jersey of Kevin Durant? Be sure to let me know your answer to that down in the comment section below. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs. But with that being said, until Monday, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!